Hello and welcome to a 1v1 on Fedrid Folly. Starting off, we have Cornflux playing as the Kommando Knob, and we have Aetherion playing as the Apothecary. Quick reminder that the monthly Rumble Tournament 22 is actually coming up, and sign-ups will end fairly soon. It is actually set for this Sunday, I believe, so I'll leave a link in the description for those who want to sign up, and also be aware that I will be streaming the tournament live on Twitch as well, and then I'll be uploading it to YouTube once the tournament has ended. And a quick note about both these players: they actually both recently won. I say recently, in February there was a 2v2 tournament hosted by FA, and these two were actually the winners of said tournament. For those who have forgotten about that tournament already, but starting off a bit of action here between some scouts and some sluggers. Surprisingly, no one has actually sent any units towards the lower side of the map. Both players are actually sending their side units into the mid instead. But the double shooters now on there. We're going to be forcing off the scouts of Aetherion, who's opting for a single scout build. Probably going to be going for some fast ASM, or going to be going for some fast devastators, although I'd imagine it's going to be fast ASM in the case once he sees the Kommando Knob, and given that it's the APO as well, some fast ASM are probably going to be on the cards for him. Tactical Marines with their fast decap going to get a decap onto this VP while the APO comes in against Kommando Knob, who is now infiltrated here. The APO has no idea where he's gone, though now it uninfiltrates here. Going to be some very fast shotgun scouts here for Aetherion. Normally people recommend to actually get a tier 1.5 unit out before getting any upgrades or war gear on your commanders, or any war gear accessories on your units as well. But Aetherin's actually going to be going for a double tactical marines here. He's not going to put down any fast generators or anything like that, so he's actually going to go for a double tactical marines instead of double scouts. Shotgun scouts and tactical marines still in control of the top side of the map. Meanwhile, Cornflux is actually taking the opportunity now to go off to the right hand side, knowing that Aetherion doesn't actually have double scouts, and is going to cap that up with sluggers. These sluggers with their burn is going to be very effective on that right hand side, going to be keeping a lot of pressure on Aetherion to actually make sure that he defends his natural power farm. Tactical Marines are going to be coming in. Sluggers could actually fight these Tactical Marines here with the burner upgrade as well. You do get two models which are getting up with power melee instead. The two models with the burners actually have a power melee instead of regular melee, giving them a damage boost to heavy infantry. Shotgun scouts coming in though. These sluggers will need to be a bit careful in this case. They get shotgun blasted into the base right here, but they will be retreating away. The APO is going to try and come in on the retreat path, maybe try and pick off a model with his default chainsword, although his default chainsword doing really no damage. So in fact, the APO actually gets stuck there and isn't able to take down any slugger models. Tactical Marines going to try and force melee here. We'll get a model here, and we'll start to move onto the upper platform as Cornflux moves in with his shooters and Kommando Knob. Generator going down for Cornflux, two generators going down for Aetherion, and some early looters going to be coming out for Cornflux. Kommando Knob is infiltrated up here as well. Shooters are grouping up together, but the shooters are actually both going to retreat away. Don't want any part of the scout tac APO combination here, and scouts going to be flanking around against the Kommando Knob by the looks of things. Could see some war gear coming onto the APO. Actually, we do see some war gear going in right now. As soon as I said that, they're going to have the Sanguine Chainsword, which allows the APO to actually heal on hit with the chainsword or with his bolt pistol. 25 health per hit, or per swing, which can give him a lot of staying power in engagements, although Orks with a lot of burst, well I say a lot of burst, with just a lot of straight up damage per second, it can be a bit more difficult to actually stay in the fight against them. But in smaller fights or smaller skirmishes where there's less DPS in the field, less to focus down, the APO can be extremely effective. Tactical Marines going to be meleeing down this generator along with some shotgun scouts who are going to fire from range. Tactical Marines actually doing more damage to power node in melee compared to ranged. Looters going in a little bit far forward here. We'll get shotgun blasted. Scouts though taking so much damage right now, going to get forced off very early. The looters trying to do what damage they can to these Tactical Marines. Tactical Marines are going to force melee onto them. Looters should back away and let the shooters just do their job here. Looters going to try and walk back into that shooter blob. They are getting suppressed by these shooters with their big shooters. Two big shooter upgrades coming in here for these shooter boys. Tactical Marines will be forced off in the end though, down to 300 HP. The APO might heal them on retreat here, so that they can actually get out base a bit quicker. And that healing bonus going off, as you can see. Double shooters and looters regrouping. The APO still on that hill here. Does actually use the heal onto the Tactical Marines. Map looking very blue right now as the sluggers on the right hand side fairly uncontested. Some Flamer Tactical Marines are coming in, and Cornflux does need to put down two more generators, does have the resources for it as well. unless he's actually planning on buying another unit right now. But the scouts, not scouts, the sluggers here should win, or should be able to force off these flaming tactical marines, but they are getting some backup. Some scouts are coming in as well here, and they are now fully upgraded, or nearly fully upgraded. I'm not sure if they have the elite training or not. Those shotgun blasts going to prevent these sluggers from being able to get into melee range, and the flame attacks and shotgun scouts are going to be able to force these sluggers off, although no model losses inflicted against them, but they will need to get out of base fairly quickly to actually prevent a generator bash from these tactical marines. Double shooters though in mid, going to be doing a lot of damage to the Apo here. Loot is going to be repositioning as well. The tactical marines not behind any green cover, should have maybe gone behind this green cover over here instead. Instead they're going behind some yellow cover by the looks of things, if that's any cover at all. I think the plants here are yellow cover, but I'm not too sure on that. Kommando is going to be getting the Assassin's Knife, and it's actually a really nice idea against the Apo. The Apo has the lowest health pool in the game at 600, same as the Lord Commissar and Lecter Alpha. But as much as he does have access to a heal, it's sometimes not enough, and even forcing the Apo to use the heal on himself can be pretty devastating, because it's not as effective on himself compared to using it on a tactical marine squad. And also the stuns from the Kommando knob, which did see him try to do there, is extremely effective. The triple shot ability is actually going to be enough to take down the tactical marine here. The slugs are able to chase him down. Meanwhile in mid, ASM is going to be jumping in onto these setup looters. Looters running away. Shooters could actually suppress these ASM and give these looters a bit of time to actually reset up. These slugger boys also trying to tie up these shotgun scouts and melee as well, and we're able to force them off. ASM going to be switching focus now to these shooters, who are now going to be retreating away. The ASM need to back away from this Kommando knob. That Assassin's Knife doing 70 melee DPS, and also having an ability called Assassinate as well, which does 250 burst damage, or 250 piercing damage with a single swing. Can be very effective at taking down a tactical marine model, or any kind of model, and essentially I think with a tactical marine I believe it's 2 to 3 hits along with the Assassinate ability is enough to actually take down a full model. Very effective at getting the Kommando knob to level up, and very effective at just bleeding your opponent. Tactical marine models extremely expensive, about 85 requisition a piece. Although no other war gear though here for Cornerflux. The Assassin's Knife does combine very well with the best combat kit, giving him an extra free health regen per second, extra health and extra energy. And normally do see a lot of players combine those two war gears together. The ASM going to be jumping in here into the looters. The Kommando knob coming around for the flank though. Does need to focus something down. Actually decides to retreat away instead. Shooters coming in here for some backup. The ASM getting suppressed once again. ASM could actually jump. They do have enough energy to do so. Going to be trying to tie down these shooters, who should retreat away maybe, or should try and run away. Instead they're actually going to go up and group up with these looters here, but they're taking a lot of damage from tactical marines coming in from behind, and Cornerflux is going to fully retreat away. Meanwhile shotgun scouts, but sluggers actually with a knob leader as well, going to be tearing down this generator from shotgun scouts, going to be coming in. Swampum is used, giving them extra speed and damage resistance from range damage, and they do get shotgun blasted before forcing these scouts away, and they will now resume to bash this generator farm. Cornerflux though still on 2 generators total, but we do have a Death Dread coming out here for him, and he's also getting the better combat kit now in tier 2. So far 2 generators have been burned down. Shotgun scouts aren't coming back out base. They don't have the elite training, so they don't have the extra energy or health regen while outside of combat. It's very effective even if you don't use the infiltrate all too often. The extra health and energy regen while outside of combat can really come in useful, allow you to engage in as many fights as you want with your scouts, just gain them in and out of combat all the time. The ASM very riskily jumping in here when there's a Death Dread that's going to land a special here as well, but the ASM luckily retreating away just in time. Sluggers coming in for a flank against these tactical marines. The APO does have enough energy to heal, does use the heal on these flame tactical marines, and shotgun scouts could actually throw a retreat grenade here, not in position. Shotgun scouts going to be a little bit too fast, and the Orc blob coming in through mid. Death Dread still not upgraded with its burner upgrade. Well, not even upgrade to the burner upgrade, given that the generator farm was actually burnt down, although the burner upgrade does give an extra 300 HP to your Death Dread, so can be effective if you want to make it last a little bit longer. But Cornerflux looks like he might be spending that power on other stuff instead. Could always see the shooter knob upgrades coming on the shooter boy, since it does provide a 15% damage boost once you hit tier 2. Now that Cornerflux is tier 2, his shooters could do with an extra 15% damage boost, along with an extra model as well. That is a Diet Last model. Kommando Nob very aggressively going in here against the full army here of Aetherion, going to be forced to retreat away. Meanwhile, on the left hand side with his shooter boys and also with his looters, going to be doing some capping on the high ground. Meanwhile, Aetherion on the lower ground, going to be doing some capping with the scouts. 399 VPs to 322 here. Aetherion deciding that the missile launcher on his tactical marine is going to be enough to actually counter the Death Dread, which is going to get healed up or repaired even by these slugger boys right now. Not really a large fan of the missile launcher tactical marines, although it is combined with the thunder and lightning upgrade on these ASM, so it should be enough to take down an unupgraded Death Dread. But the missile launcher upgrade I find is quite expensive at 40 power, and also losing out the DPS as well on your tactical marines against infantry. The Cornflux on a lot of requisition right now. Oops. Could actually, in fact he might even go tier 2 by the looks of things with the amount of resources that he's got. He does have nearly enough power to actually tech up. Slug's going to be coming down this right hand side, does actually get the burner upgrade onto the Death Dread, giving it extra health and also burners instead of regular machine guns on the front. Kommando Nob going to be taking down an ASM model here with the Assassinate ability. It's very effective at 250 piercing DPS with a single ability. Very annoying as Space Marines to bleed models like that. Shotgun Scout's going to be tearing down. The power node in mid was also brought down quite low from earlier, and will get finished off in the end. Death Dread going to be tying up these tactical marines melee. So it actually decides to run away. I think it could have just decided to try and melee down these missile launched tactical marines, got some support from these sluggers and actually win that engagement, although Aetherin's whole army is pretty much here. So it can be risky to try and fight with just 2 units, although the Death Dread will be fairly uncontested with the missile launcher tactical marines tied up, and with these sluggers as well doing so much damage. The sluggers decided to retreat away. In fact, they could have maybe gone for a tactical marine or tried to go for it. The Slugger Nob doing so much power melee damage, extremely effective against tactical marines. Scout's going to be coming in here, Grenade going to get thrown onto the looters here, unable to set up in time, or unable to tear down in time. We'll lose a model here, but still on 2 out of 3 models, so they can actually stay on the field. Still no shooter Nobs here for Cornflux, instead deciding to go tier 3, so we could actually see something else instead. Commandos, Nobs, a looter tank even. ASMs though taking a lot of damage here from both the looters and the shooters. Kommando Nob is also coming into the ASM, do retreat away, do get a cap though onto the upper VP, but taking a lot of damage in doing so. Death Dread though going to be coming in, going to be tying up these flame tactical marines. They will be able to get 1 generator by the looks of things. Death Dread still set into range stance, and it's actually getting these tactical marines path blocked by the looks of things. Missile launch going to be coming in here. Sluggers also coming in here as well. Can't tell if this is swamp ability, there's just fire everywhere here. And ASMs are nowhere to be found. There's no melter bomb to actually tie up this Death Dread. The missile launch attacks are actually going into this building. That's actually a really big mistake here from Aetherion. There's double flamers here. There's flamers on the sluggers, flamers on the Death Dread here. They could all turn and actually burn down the building. We see the burn the house down ability actually getting used here from the sluggers. Meanwhile, on the upper ground, scouts actually tying up some shooters in melee. Looters getting forced away. Tactical marines with the missile launch coming out of the building once again. Should go back inside the building now maybe before Death Dread actually ties him up. Heal going to be going down on him, and some nice micro here by Aetherion actually puts the tactical marines inside the building, and the missile is able to actually go off and get that Death Dread killed. Meanwhile, Aetherion building a Dreadnought, Cornflux building some Nobs. Nobs maybe not the best choice against a melee Dreadnought though. The stun from the Dreadnought can be really nice to actually counter the Mina and Greener upgrade. If you stun them while they're invulnerable, then their vulnerability doesn't really matter as much. Stun bomb going to get thrown down, going to hit the Kommando Nob. Kommando Nob retreats away from his own stun bomb though, leaving his shooters to actually do the fighting here. With the shooters do need to be a bit careful of fighting alone. And grenade is available for these scouts, although not in position to actually throw a retreat grenade down onto these shooter boys. Some more shooter boys though coming out of base, along with some sluggers, looters. What's going to be saying on that is going to be a dead Apo if he's not careful. That could very well be a dead Apo, will be a dead Apo. Very nice grenade though thrown onto the sluggers, will actually knock them back, will buy the rest of the units some time. Where the Apo going down can be rebought with Laraman's Blessing though. Although 2 tactical marine models going to go down here. In fact, that entire squad might go down very low right now. 1 more hit from the slugger Nob would have done it. In fact, 1 more hit from anything would have done it, but the Death Dread, well not Death Dread, but the Dreadnought coming in here. Emperor's Wrath going to be going down and going to stun the units, although they are in retreat, so they're not affected by that stun. Nobs now coming out in the field. ASM pretty much been on the side doing some capping, not been in combat as much. Scouts going to get forced away here. and missile launch tactical marines do need to be a bit careful. The looters have been upgraded with the beamy death gun now, so the Dreadnought can or should be careful here. Beamy death gun actually doing the highest damage per shot out of any AV in the game, other than a last turret or a missile launcher turret, I believe. It does 240 armor piercing damage per shot, which is quite a lot. And you can see that Dreadnought is already down to just 720 HP. Aetherion will need to repair that up with his scouts. In fact, keep the scouts next to the Dreadnought the entire time. Use Emperor's Fist to get the knobs away or stun them if they try to do their frenzy stance if they get the upgrade. And if they still are in frenzy stance, then use a shotgun blast to suppress and move the Dreadnought away. Kommando Nob going to be on that right hand side. Apo still down for the count. We actually have the ASM Sergeant coming in here though, which could be used for the Merciless Strike to actually knock down the knobs, or to actually give them some extra DPS and extra staying power as well. ASM very riskily jumping in here against these sluggers here. We'll need to retreat almost straight away. The sluggers with the knobs going to be a bit much for them to actually handle by themselves. 295 VPs, 237 Apo still down on the ground. Aetherion actually going to go tier 3 in fact. Might get some actually no Terminators wouldn't be the good choice against knobs here. So I'm not actually sure what he's going to be guessing. Hide the boys though on these knobs. Knobs still no upgrades on them just yet. They do have a plus symbol above them, so I don't know if that's actually meaning that they've got an upgrade or not. Because I think normally it comes up on the side here. They might have that Mina and Greener upgrade. They definitely don't have the Knob Leader or the Huge Hammer upgrade, so I'm going to assume that they got the Mina and Green, and that's what that plus symbol does indicate. Kommando Nob getting detected and also knocked back by the shotgun scouts on the right hand side here. Will get forced away, taking a bit too much damage. Still level 1 surprisingly throughout the entire game. Apo is also level 2 and a bit, but still currently down on the ground right now, only armed with that Sanguine Chainsaw. Don't think he had any other upgrades other than that. And looks like Cornerflux is going to try and go in here for a power bash. Meanwhile, on the left hand side, the Dreadnought is actually going to get the Dark Age of Technology upgrade, giving it some extra health and also giving it better inspiration bonuses to nearby units. And these tactical marines and scouts do need to be very careful right now. That is a very nasty retreat path. Shotgun scouts could actually do a shotgun blast and then retreat through it, through the knocked back units, but instead they actually decide to run around instead. Missile launch and tactical marines do need to keep on moving. They do need to be careful in case a shooter boy squad actually lands a suppression onto one of the squads, slowing them down, forcing them to retreat earlier than what they should. But the shotgun scouts going to keep on running away. These sluggers and knobs look like they've stopped moving there. The Kommando Nob going to be coming in. Could actually use the triple shot to stun one of the models here and actually guarantee a kill. Stun bomb going to get thrown down instead, going to land on these tactical marines. They should retreat away right now before the knobs actually get in there to tie them up. And the ASM actually been upgraded to Vanguard Veterans. Vanguard Veterans will have an easier time fighting knobs since they are a full power melee squad. And they also do have extra health and extra energy, health regen, sorry, compared to regular ASMs. And I think because Aetherions ASMs were only level 1 or level 2, it is definitely worth upgrading to Vanguards. Vanguards are going to be jumping in here. This is very risky. As much as they're much better equipped to fighting knobs and whatnot, it's very risky to actually jump them in against sluggers and knobs by themselves. Dreadnought is coming in here for some support, but there's just a lot of melee here for Cornerflux. These Vanguard Veterans don't also have the heal support from the Apo right now. That could be a dead slugger boy squad. The Dreadnought though going to be taking down that slugger knob, and now switching focus to the knobs instead. Vanguards look like they want to actually jump in. The grenade going to get thrown onto the knobs. Wow, that grenade doing a lot of damage. Dreadnought going to be taking down an extra knob model here, or actually it doesn't look like he will. Stun bomb thrown onto the Kommando and also thrown onto the Vanguards here as well to stop them from doing any damage. Looters though going to be setting up. Vanguards needs to jump in and tie them up, I think. Vanguards will be jumping in to tie them up. Looters will get one shot for the forced off from those Vanguards, and now the Dreadnought can get some emergency repairs here from these shotgun scouts. It really does need them, down to just half health right now, and still level 1 might get up, might hit level 2 in the next engagement if it's able to continue fighting the way it did in that previous engagement. Missile launch tactical marines on that right hand side going to be doing some capping double shooters, trying to take down his tactical marines. There's not really much range damage here for Aetherion. He's going for a very melee heavy army with the melee Dreadnought and these Vanguard Veterans being the bulk of his army. The Apo was also repurchased as well and gained the armor. The Apothecary could also see the improved medical equipment to actually follow that up as well, so he actually has enough energy to spam that heal as well. Going to be a triple cap now for Aetherion. 146 VPs to 203 Cornerflux on the back foot right now. will need to regroup and re-push. Sluggers also need their Nob leader back. They actually died in the previous engagement. And a looter tank, very nice response here to the Dreadnought. The Dreadnought can't really do too much against a looter tank. Vanguard veterans could also upgrade to the Power Fist as well, although you probably want them to keep that. I can't remember what the weapon upgrade is called. It's the Lightning Claw. They probably want to keep that Lightning Claw instead when fighting Nobs and other infantry as well. The looter tank though is actually getting melee down here by the Dreadnought. Nobs going to try and tie up the Dreadnought, but actually getting knocked over. The looters still firing away at that Dreadnought. Looter tank also doing what work it can. Nobs going to be meleeing down that Dreadnought. No Emperor's Fist, so the Dreadnought is probably going to be going down in this engagement. Vanguard veterans do need to be a little bit careful. Nob's going to be coming in, actually trying to focus down this looter tank, although with no heavy melee they're not going to have the best time fighting this looted. But the looter tank will still need to run away. Power melee still does do a little bit of damage to vehicles here, especially if you get rear armor hits. Down to 90 HP, the Vanguard's unable to actually jump once again, not having enough energy. Upgrading to the Power Fist now. If they had that Power Fist a little bit earlier, 2 hits from that would have been enough to take down that looter tank. The Dreadnought is going to be a big loss here for Aetherion. Cornerflux down to just 36 VPs, 203 VPs for Aetherion. Devastators coming out here, out the gate, running straight into Cornerflux's army. Forced retreat almost straight away. Commando up on that right hand side, going to be doing some capping throughout here, and there could be a drop pod coming in here for Aetherion, although it doesn't actually have enough resources for it. Plasma guns also a very nice counter to Nobs since they are heavy infantry. In fact, 2 plasma guns can really destroy Nobs if they're not in their frenzy stance, along with the support from the Vanguard veterans to actually do some tanking and absorb the damage. Commando Nob though going to be a bit outmatched here against the entire ranged army, and the Apo here of Aetherion. Shotgun scouts in fact are a very nice counter to a melee Commando Nob with the shotgun blast, and actually doing quite a lot of burst damage with those quadruple shotguns, actually doing 120 DPS I believe. Not 120 DPS, is it? No, for some reason I thought shotguns done 30, never mind. Actually doing about 45, no, 60 DPS, sorry, oh, getting my math all wrong here. But 60 DPS though from a tier 1 squad is quite a lot actually against a commander who's still level 1 in fact. I'm surprised the commander not still level 1, he's actually picked up like a few models earlier on, but he's not actually had much impact come tier 2, come tier 3 as well. Some Flame Tactical Marines are going to be chilling that right hand side. Looter tank now back up to full health, repaired up by these sluggers, also upgraded with the reinforced plating, which will come in very handy against those Vanguards who have got that Power Fist upgrade as well. The Vanguards though chilling around. We also have the last cannon on these Devastators as well, which is going to slow down that looter tank if it actually gets inside the arc of fire here. Beamy looters also set up here as well, though there's not really much that you can actually do now that the Dreadnought has actually gone down. But the Nob squad will need to be a bit careful here. They're going in a little bit alone here. They do have their frenzy available. They are going to get knocked back by that Merciless Strike. Vanguard's going to fall back. Shotgun blast could go off to actually suppress the Nobs though, and it will also knock them over. It doesn't actually suppress them because they're in their frenzy. It needs to suppress them earlier, but the knockback will come in very handy. Vanguard's also going to get healed up here by the Apo. Apo could also use the Armory Apothecary as well to actually heal up the Vanguards in the midst of this fight. Vanguard's down to just 2 models now, going to be jumping in, once going for that looter tank, but looks of things, in fact the Armory Apothecary is actually activated right now. Apo gets slowed down to almost nothing. Blast Cannon Devastators also getting some hits onto that looter tank. Cornflux needs to not lose this tank, he really needs to keep this thing in the fight, or keep it alive at the very least. Vanguard veterans though taking a lot of damage, going to be jumping into that looter tank once again here, but they're not going to have enough health to actually chase that thing down. Might even lose a model for chasing a bit too far, but will be able to retreat away just in time. Sluggers on that right hand side going to be taking down those Flamer Tactical Marines. Apo going to go in for a cap onto the high ground here. Looter tank going to try and move in, but the missile launcher Tactical Marines are here. Going to get some hits onto this looter tank. One more hit might actually do it if it hits the rear armor. Down to 194 HP. Librarian with the 4-staff going to get a rear armor hit. 71 power melee DPS from that Librarian. And the looter tank does actually get out of there alive. Apo going in for a cap. Going to be a 2-to-1 cap here for Aetherion. Cornflux though is coming back in, is getting a second Nob squad. Nobs coming in once again. Commander Nob also coming in. Commander Nob might need to do some capping while the Nobs actually do the fighting. Force barrier going to go down. Nobs are trying to cap, and one of the models getting caught out there by that force barrier. The Commander Nob is going to try and tie up that Devastator squad. will actually get caught out himself. The looter tank also going to be going down to the Devastators and missile launcher tactical marines anyway. Nobs actually do get a decap on the VP, neutralizing the VP bleed from both sides, allowing him to remain in the fight. 19 VPs to 109. Some sluggers going to be coming in here. Should do a lot of damage to the Apo. The Apo very low, 519 health. Orbital bombardment actually going to be coming down here. First beam is going to miss, second beam is going to miss, and third beam is going to catch out two shooter boys over there. But Nob's going to remain in this fight. Could even do something flashy if he had enough energy on his scouts to actually shotgun blast the Nobs into the beams, but that's not going to happen. We have the second Nob squad up on the hill now as well, going to be coming in. Frenzy stance is activated. Apo going to be retreating away by the looks of things. Going to be going after that Librarian. Apo did not retreat away, but that Librarian is very low, will go down here. Tries to retreat away a little bit too late. Vanguard's going to be fighting these Nobs. Nobs are retreating away. Commander Nob onto that right hand side. The army here of Cornerflux is going to be coming out, but I don't think that he's going to be getting there in time. The scouts are gaining the cap here right now, and this army is moving a little bit too slow, really. Some commandos here could actually be really good here for Cornerflux. Could use the commando call-in ability. Commandos very good for getting map control since they can stealth around the map. But the sluggers going to be coming in here. Scouts have actually been able to get the cap. Shotgun blast going to be knocking them away. Merciless strike going to be knocking them away even further. No one's getting the cap. Sluggers are moving in for the cap. Sluggers now turning for the fight. Nob's going to go in for the cap. Vanguard's still in this fight though. The army of Apothecary is giving them so much health. The leader has gone down on the Vanguards though. Slugger's going to land a special. They're going to get forced off. Cornerflux manages to neutralize the VP bleed once again, but needs to turn and focus these Vanguard veterans. Very low. Frenzy is activated now. Vanguard's going to be landing a special. They are level 2, so they should land specials compared to these level 1 Nob squad. Beamy Looters also says sample of the Beamy Looters, not really the most effective against infantry. However, a decap onto this right hand side though from the Devastators is actually going to be enough to seal the deal, and Aetherion is actually going to take this game.